Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm Terry. This is Jason, and we are simulcasting. So if you're watching, are you simulcasting?
Oh, I am. I didn't
Oh,
realize. I
oh,
set that
good.
up. Yeah. That's yes.
Okay. So if you're seeing this on Jason's channel, you may not see the chatter on my channel and vice versa. But everyone here is very, very welcome. And we'll be highlighting some things. So hopefully that'll help. And I want to say hi to a few people here. We've got Jeff, throw ass backwards, came in first. Yay, Jeff. Richie, hi. How are you, dear? Annie Bear's here. Seven Feather, Jessica Lynn, Earth Mama, hey, and Book Bewitched. I'm so glad you came, Book Bewitched. Linnea A, Richie's Reach. Oh, Richie's here again. Yay. Aqua Dreaming, Cynthia, Seascape, and Rossi. Hey, everybody. So, we were just talking about what we were going to talk about. And then, which has been kind of the same thing every time we talk. I think it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Oh, Seascape has 2 monitors on. I love it, Seascape. That's great.
Or in stereo.
Yeah, right? I know that sounds good. My Midwestern twang and yeah. So anyway, so we were kind of talking about the energy that's coming in and that a lot of people are having a hard time with it because there's so much chaos going on the planet. And how we handle that, and we both kind of handle it very similarly.
Yeah.
We don't watch the news. Yeah. So I read headlines in the morning on NPR or ProPublica. And every once in a while I'll go on Google because I like to get the stocks and things like that too. But other than that, I really don't. I cannot watch video. I can't even watch video of somebody reading something.
Yeah. I don't know. I consciously don't. Well, no, I don't. I don't go there. And it amazes me, even though I don't like give in to the news and things like that, how the headlines still make their way in different ways and different times. And it's like, I don't even get into it. And it's just overwhelming to see all the stuff that's floating around on all different levels, even with like science things about the earth right now. It's horrible. It's like apocalypse. It's just not the apocalypse, but that's what it's being painted as. And it's just so damaging energetically.
Do you feel like certain parties are pushing an agenda so that we'll look a different direction?
I don't even, and it's weird because I feel guilty when I say I just don't get into it because I know that it's not what we're supposed to be paying attention to, period. And so, and it's weird that I even say that I feel guilty that I'm not more informed, but then it's a double-edged sword because it's like, what is the information that we're taking in and consider information? And so it's finding that delicate balance. I think it's important to know that what's out there and that there is so much negativity and so much fear-based stuff going around right now. But it's a responsibility that we just don't make it a part of our being. And that's, I think, that balance that is hard to negotiate.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you do, Jason, besides not reading it? Yeah. Do you have something that you like to do?
I I've been doing writing, and I don't know, I'm focusing on just broadening my own awareness in terms of spirituality and education, and because I feel like a lot of what we are going through right now has been in the making for billions of years, and it's being able to step outside of that. And so I'm by no means perfect, but I just know how important that it is that there is an aspect of right now to where there are energies that want us to take away from ourselves and trusting ourselves, and the stronger it gets, the more difficult it gets. And so I think with that happening, the more I'm, focusing on the positive and focusing on development, because I know that we need to be laying a foundation right now where we are strong and within ourselves for what's coming. So that's kind of what I do.
I love that. No, you're right. You're right. And I feel like it's really easy to do busy work, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's really easy to take that busy work into a thread of consciousness, or a thread of energy, instead of really thinking about authentically, like, do I want to write this piece of work down, and this dream of what I want to be like. And I think sometimes if we think about, if we had all the time in the world and all the money in the world, we never had to worry about any of that, what would we want to be doing? And I've started doing that a lot lately. Like, what would be the most important thing if I had not a care in the world?
And the funny thing is that, I mean, it's not funny, but at least my experiences was on different levels of doing what I do. That's exactly the question we're supposed to be answering for ourselves right now, that we are moving into a paradigm where this chaos doesn't have a grip on us, and worrying about financial futures doesn't have a grip on us. And so within all the muck and the chaos and everything else, and having to sit with ourselves and question, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Spirit's answer, galactic answer, everything is doing what you love. And it's as simple as that. And it's hard for us to not worry about things. But I don't know, the more that I've learned to not worry about things, it's amazing how much energy we just waste worrying about things. And I don't want to keep harping on the news, but it takes away our energy. And I think it's so much better to do it constructively and authentically, putting energy there instead of all the other stuff.
It really is, isn't it? And some things are so simple. Like today, my daughter is posting some things on Instagram, so I wanted to get on, and some of my friends' kids are posting, and they have bands and things, and I want to like and everything. So I'm on there, and then somebody's posting something about this little shopping area in our town, and it's very upscale, and it's being sold to somebody else. Long story here, I'm pitter-pattering around. So, so they so I posted something on there how it used to be an area that had drugstores and, bowling alleys and things like that, and finer things. And it was for the community. And then I thought, I can put this out here today, but what response will I get? Do I even want to bother? And in the end, I did. I thought, I probably won't go back to it, because I know the energy out there. But yeah, you don't even want to respond sometimes on social media, or be careful about any energy that we put out there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've had some experiences, not recently, but I take things it actually it affects your energy. And I just, it's I guess, yeah, it's unfortunate that some people, that's kind of their mission, is to um, be validated through the energy that they inflict on people.
Yeah, they do, don't they? I have to say, I think if anything happened, I'd still be here because I love coming on here. And I love talking to people like you and everybody in the chat. And
Yeah.
it's such a healing thing. And I love being a part of it.
Yeah. I feel like, I think the last time I was on was with you, actually.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. Good for you. Well,
it just kind of happened.
No, I didn't mean it like that. But yeah, I was thinking about that today because I've been having such powerful meditations and visions, and I think a lot of us here have. And it's a time I think that I need to start writing things down and getting some because I've talked to some people about this, and people have asked me about it, but doing some healing sessions and a new format because we're all remembering right now. Like it's just everything's getting really, really clear, and the downloads are here for us.
Dreams, yes, very important right now. It's interesting. There's a lot going on in our dreams. That's one aspect is, and this is just coming from sessions I've been having, is not necessarily what you're experiencing, but not the details, but it's rather how you feel in particular situations that you find yourself. So that's one. The other flip side is a lot of us are having flashes of past lives. So dreams where it feels, you wake up and you feel like it was real, that you were there, that all that. It is the process of remembering. But there is guidance that's coming through too, in terms of feeling lost, or I've been actually personally having a lot of dreams that I've always had where you're in a mall and it's like this huge mall and you get lost and you're not sure where to go. And it's always so weird because it's like I know that I've been there, so it's like, oh no, here I am again. But spirits definitely, and the galactic side of things that's just becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, are like, dreams are one of the easiest access points for everyone. So definitely writing down dreams. It seems like it's becoming more and more prominent now. In other ways, even our multi-dimensional selves experiences are coming through dreams too. So that's something too. That's a whole other.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And as this starts happening, I don't know about you, but a lot of the people on the channel have talked about losing time or gaining time, the time continuum, kind of, intermingling dimensions.
Yeah. And I think it's because I think that what's at least really cool about now is, at least with my hypnosis job, it's not a job. Like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it's, it was all about past lives. And the thing is that the information that comes through that type of work, it's always geared, we never are given information that we're not able to process or handle. So if it's something that's, potentially fear-inducing or anything else, it won't be revealed. But we're getting to this point now just because of our own vibrations and our own awareness is raising to this new level. And we are remembering that more, I guess, like amazing information's coming through for people because we're more aware and more able to process it. So hypnosis sessions that I've been having, it's, people are being exposed to and learning that they have multidimensional lives, that there are ways in which, how do I put this? I had a session where it was someone who had been in a relationship that had been long ended, but he had this intuition that somehow the negativity from this other side of the relationship was still really sucking the energy from him. And he couldn't explain it to me in the session. And it came through his actual session, which there's so much more to it, but he had a multidimensional existence. He would slip in and out of time and of timelines. But the relationship that he had in this life was different in another type of existence, in that I guess his wife was a powerful energy in this certain type of life, that he was a threat to her in that life. So there was things that were still going on in that dimension, I guess. I can't remember how it was termed. So that feeling that he had in this life in terms of she's still affecting me in some ways was legitimate. And so just the fact that these intuitions that we're having and being exposed to are not just about this earth experience. So the chaos that we're feeling in terms of what's going on now is so heavy and thick because we're also aware of other existences that we have
Right.
that are related to this. And we affect those existences as much as they affect us. So I think part of the message, which I'm kind of coming to now, just interesting through talking about this, is that weight that so many people are feeling right now and feeling lost and needing miracles and everything else, it's because this is not just one. This isn't the whole story, that we are experiencing things in so many different aspects of who we are. That was like, I guess I went out there.
No, I love it. I love it. I feel the same. I feel on so many different levels because I agree on different dimensions. I know some old relationships that I have. When you said that, it clicked in. It was like, bam, yeah, that's why he's still around.
Yeah.
And my late husband, but also just the physical aspect of it, the epigenetics of, like, if you're 800 years ago, your ancestors' village was raped and pillaged by Attila the Hun or whoever it was, and that's in your DNA. I mean, so if there's trauma that comes up, you react to that trauma.
Mm-hmm.
That fight or flight is ready to go. And then, the Holocaust wasn't that long ago. The wars weren't that long ago. So a new war or new genocides that pop up, it definitely does affect us.
Yeah. And I always, we were not meant to understand it, but the fact that, we call it past lives, but they're really not, that it's all happening all at once in one moment. I've tried to understand it, and I've been told, don't waste your time by, because we're not supposed to understand it. But I think in terms of thinking about it that way, all of our lifetimes are just, in the next room, so to speak. So it's like our influence on other lifetimes and their influences on ours is a little bit more, makes a little bit more sense, because it's all happening right next to us. So all of our lifetimes, everything is happening all at once. So at least for me, it makes me understand why a lifetime 800 years ago is actually right next door, and that's why it's affecting me now. So I don't know, I always think that's interesting to think about.
It's really interesting. Yeah, it really is. I also feel like when this happens, I don't know about you, but well, I know you that it does as well. Bringing our awareness into it at this time, like I think that's why we're all here to try to help everybody, and by helping ourselves first and shining our light and being aware of everything that's happening, and changing all that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, and I think another aspect is that I've been coming across this a lot of generational healing, that there is the aspect that we do. We are kind of the weight that we're feeling in different ways in our lives that are actually, if you look back and see the pattern throughout, whether it's matrilineal or, patrilineal, your father's line, whatever else, we have the opportunity to change the script, and it's a responsibility in terms of it's not just us, even if we're not motivated to change our script. It's also, there's the opportunity for the healing for all the generations behind us. And it kind of explains why everything is so heavy right now, because we're dealing with so much on so many different levels, but we have a choice. And that's one of the biggest lessons I think that we're here to learn, is we have a choice to flip the script. We don't have to be the product of our family lines. They actually want us to do the work so that they can be free to go forward. So if you feel like it's a lot of weight, you're not alone. And the funny thing is, I think because we're becoming more spiritually aware, that's why this weight is heavier too, because we're more conscious of these things and aware of generational, trauma and healing and multidimensional stuff and lifetime stuff. This is kind of like a lot of us probably have shoulder issues with all the weight that we're carrying. So I know I do.
Yeah, definitely. Annie's asking if anybody else hears whispers from your side. So anyway, she's hearing things. A little bit I do, Annie. Yeah.
Oh.
So I also feel like right now that we're healing our descendants at the same time, because it's not linear. It's cyclical. It's all happening at the same time. And also, while the energies activate on the planet, the quantum field is changing. I mean, energy is always energy. That doesn't change, but the way that it comes into you changes, right? The way that we accept energy now, dealing with healing energy instead of trapping energy inside our body toxically, by worrying and stress and anxiety, and letting it flow. As this happens, it activates everything differently on the planet as well. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I haven't heard of I haven't heard about that aspect of it wouldn't surprise me, but how we are accepting energy.
Yeah. I kind of feel like all the ley lines on the planet now are getting activated, and we're activating them. And just by our awareness of our heart space and our solar plexus and abiding in our light, and other dimensions as well, as that happens, it completely changes our planet and our experience.
Yeah, I've been getting I've been having dream about ley lines a lot and the energies, and also people are being pulled to move, or if not visit places that are rich in that type of energy. I don't know what you call it, the vortices, or where they cross. It's interesting how many people and who aren't, well, I mean, I don't know where they all are exactly, but paying attention to where even people watching this, where you're traveling, where you want to go, and seeing where the ley lines are. It is interesting that we're kind of being pulled towards those areas, most definitely.
It is interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So are you seeing different areas that are being hotspots?
Yeah. Yeah, I have been, and I haven't talked about it, but I really don't know why particular areas. I've told one person,
Oh, sorry.
but no, I hesitate just because I don't want. I mean, it's nothing actually there. It's not in the U.S. But I've Ghana, South Africa, Indonesia are the three areas, and I don't know why. My intellectual side did research on the countries because I was like, I wonder how they're connected, and
Yeah.
they're really not. Politically, yes, they in terms of democracies, but I don't think that's why I was being shown those by spirit. But South Africa, I think there's something about that. I have a feeling it has to do with weather, just rain. So
Yeah. There is an individual that lives in South Africa that is, I can't remember his name. Somebody here in the chat will remember it. But he's very active with the ley line healing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like, so, there's chakras on the planet, just like we have chakras and pyramids that activate light and did during Atlantis and Lemuria. And I feel like these pyramids are getting reactivated, but also the mountains are getting activated. And that a lot of them are also, which South Africa has, doesn't South Africa have, is that Victoria Falls in South Africa? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I know somewhere in Africa is one of the tallest mountains in the world. Anyway, they are also getting activated, like, Sedona and Mount Shasta as well, and Everest. But it is interesting.
I don't. This is like stuff is resonating that you're saying, and I don't know where I. The mountains are important, and it's so weird that you're saying that. I don't know if that was a dream or what. There is an energy that we're supposed to be tapping into in terms of the mountains. So that's interesting. I think it's interesting to think of them as their own kind of pyramids too, in a sense. So I just feel like there's going to be more revealed in terms of weather, mountains, all that.
Yeah.
So.
It is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I keep being shown Egypt and the Arcturians and the healing centers and the pyramids, and that these are also inside the mountains, and giants awakening and different species awakening, and we're awakening. and just the
Yeah,
combination of that word.
do you think that, even though, and I've noticed this even in amongst all the news headlines, that there's been a lot more talk of archaeology not, finding all these things where
Yes.
like the pyramids are much, much older than 10,000 years, and they're doing all these, having all these revelations of, oh, archaeology didn't have it really right. And I think if there are subtle ways of us, getting information, even though we're being distracted, the kind of our timeline is being more and more revealed. Which you bring up Egypt just kind of made me think of that, just in terms of being distracted from what is going on. That's actually kind of uplifting to, well, at least in my perspective, understanding that the story that we've written isn't exactly the not right, but full story, full perspective. Because the pyramids are much, 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 much older than 10,000 years.
Oh yeah. 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 I feel like, oh, what about the pyramids in the Grand Canyon? Seascape's asking. Yeah. So we're supposed to have more pyramids in the United States than any other country.
That I hiked the Grand Canyon when I was 11 or 12, and it was such, anyone who's been there, being at the bottom, and the funny thing is, at that time I didn't have any awareness of a lot of this, but I kept saying it felt like it was a time warp. Just because like the animals were different, mosquitoes were like the size of birds, everything else. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there's some type of energetic thing about the Grand Canyon that's going to be revealed too. So I don't know why I brought that up.
Wow. Well, we'll have to watch that. We'll have to watch that. Yeah. There's a lot going on. So I feel like everybody here, I'm so glad you're all here. And I don't know. Do we want to take questions, or we?
Sure.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and bring them on. I did star a few. Oh, and Teresa McCann says, whoops, almost got you there. I was watching a show about ancient aliens and electricity by the pyramids and the obelisks. Yeah, the pyramids do have batteries inside them that stored power. Let's see, going to the starred comments. Rossi says the Schumann resonance is back online. The energies were off the charts, I bet. And tomorrow's another big day, so I'm sure it's going to be like that now. Jeff had an interesting comment. The energy of now and the visions of Nostradamus, especially circa Israel and the Middle East, now seem to hint at it. What was Dolores' take on it, and what is yours, to both of you?
I will say Dolores was just kind of a reporter, so I feel kind of pushed to say that. Like, she didn't really take a position. I know that at least it came to pass that in terms of what Nostradamus, see, the whole relationship, that's like a whole topic. Because when Dolores Cannon, for people who are wondering who I'm talking about, she started QHHT. She has a series of books on Nostradamus. There's 3 books. Fascinating in terms of the fact that she was actually working with him in real time, talking about everything happening all at once. So when she was communicating with him at different points, sometimes it'd be older, sometimes it'd be younger, and she had an agreement with Akashic records, the keeper of the Akashic records, that she couldn't reveal anything to him when he was younger from his future. It's amazing just to read those books. But he explicitly told her in those books, these aren't meant to be taken as absolute 100% predictions. This is the worst case scenario if people don't make particular collective choices in order to make things better. So even with, and I even saw the Nostradamus, today, it's like, Nostradamus apocalypse is going to happen, which is just horrible because it's the worst case scenario. He never intended it to be 100%. I know that we have moved off of, well, as far as I know, we moved off of that timeline that he had foretold. We're always switching timelines all the time. And even if we were to, for example, go on a timeline that had to deal with, Israel, Middle East, or whatever else, there's still no guarantee because we have the opportunity to make choices. So I feel like it's so important. I mean, Nostradamus was an important figure, but he, in those texts, communicated with Dolores that this is the worst case scenario. Anything can be changed. The timelines can be changed. So it's a matter of, if we believe that that's what that is, so I choose not to believe that.
Yeah. I think that's an excellent point, Jason, that we're all creators. I mean, we are divine light, and we are creating our own worlds every minute, millisecond. So what we bring in, toxins to our bodies, or with the news, or with our toxic relationships around us, right? Sometimes how we look at them, it changes everything.
And I think it's also important to, because I had this come through another session, because I was working with I don't want to say recovering math teacher, but he was getting into spirituality, but he was really trying to put aside the analytical, all that stuff. And he really struggled with the concept of linear time, because he was like, or how not to think of time linearly. Linearly.
I can't even get
and I had actually, I don't remember what book it was read, but so it was described the time. It's better to think of it as a sphere, that, we're always traveling around the sphere, that it can be a straight line, but it's not. I won't go into all that, but I asked actually his higher self, because I said, he has a lot of questions about time. And I had brought up the sphere with him, and he said he got it. And his higher self was like, no, he didn't get it. But, but they said, it is good to think of time as a sphere that doesn't have a size, that it's infinite. And it's not just about moving around the outside of the sphere. It's about all the millions of infinite points inside of it, that each choice we make, we're hopping around all the time. So I think that that's important, just to share that timelines, it isn't just like we're hopping onto another train track. There's infinite numbers of directions and ways that they cross and they uncross, and then we could make a decision and be way over here. So I think the whole conversation about timelines, that it's important just to recognize that it's like, we don't just get on the train track and head to apocalypse. It's much more complex than that.
I love that. And speaking of trains, another teacher that's on here, Rebecca, or Rachel Grant. Anyway, she's quite interesting, and she was talking about trains today, and how, we have this train of thought, and we can easily think that, oh, I made a mistake. I'm, and we take an entire train. These constructs go, and with our, and so we can take that timeline, or we can get off that train just by becoming aware of it
Yeah.
and changing it, because that's not really us. We're not the mistakes that we make. We're the light that we shine.
Yeah. And I think, the timelines, and that's one of the things that we're actually supposed to be letting go of right now, is looking back at our past and being like, oh, I wish I became spiritual earlier, or I wish I would have known this earlier. Or I wish I would have, what if I had made this decision differently? And in that sense, there's no guarantee that, you go back and you decide not to, I don't know, move to Alaska and stay where you were. There's no guarantee that it's going to be better, and you could actually have made that decision in the past and be exactly where you are. So it's to spend energy regretting or feeling ashamed or what ifs is a waste of time from the spiritual perspective, because it's like we have no guarantee that we would be any place different than where we are right now, even with that decision in the past.
Yeah. I like that. I'm also seeing the how it balances with the ley lines and jumping on different timelines, jumping on different choices, and the ley lines, and then the energy lines around us as well, and how that our light body, how it activates everything and changes the light around you or the light inside you, but also the light on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also interconnected, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah. And I can't help but think of, the earth as kind of like the human body, and the ley lines are like pressure points in our bodies and energy and all that. And so that now that that's coming back online, we're resonating more with it. So I don't know. I'd much rather put my focus here than the headlines.
Right? Definitely. So I feel like that we're already creating our fifth dimension and going in and out of it. Like we're never just in 3D. If you wanted to do dimensions, that we're kind of always hopping around, even as linear time when we look at that in this lifetime, right? So we're always all around anyway, but consciously aware of being in a different dimension as far as following our light and being grounded. It's a job, but somebody's got to do it. It's all the light workers here.
I hope he sees my question.
Who is this? Okay, I'm way behind on comments. I'm sorry, everybody.
No, I saw.
Who was it?
Annie. Oh, were the pyramids telepathy boosters?
Oh,
is that it?
Yeah. Was that it, Annie? Jeff, you were a math teacher. Math, quantum field, it's just another form of light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to say recovering math teacher, because sacred geometry, all that. So I wasn't. He was just struggling with.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My late husband was an engineer, so I know that thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about the telepathy and the pyramids.
I feel like they were light boosters because they do have batteries, and they were definitely boosting everything, not just telepathy, but healing powers. And like if you want to recharge, just do a meditation in the pyramid. It's amazing.
Yeah. Even visualizing yourself in, I've heard.
Yeah.
It's kind of getting over the idea that we have to be somewhere physically to experiencing it spiritually. And if you imagine yourself floating in the Great Pyramid for healing, it's supposed to be just as powerful, if not more. Yeah.
Are you waiting for me to say something? I wasn't sure. I thought, oh, I don't want to interrupt because you really look like you're thinking.
Yeah. No, I was thinking of the like tapping into, I think tapping into just the general idea of meditating on the pyramid structure is important right now, is what I was kind of thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jeff wants to know if they can get personal readings. Sure. That's fine with me if you guys want them. We've got about 15 minutes left. The other thing I wanted to bring up while we're here is that Dolores lived in Arkansas, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
And the mountains down there are filled with crystals. I mean, just crystal mines everywhere. So, Arkansas is a hot spot now too.
It's interesting to think. Yeah, it's interesting to think about. I recently, I'm not very well educated on. Apparently, there's regions, many regions that are considered gateways, and sometimes some of those of us who live near them are actually gatekeepers. I'm not really sure. I have to learn more about that. That was actually someone that I had a reading with, and it ended up being more educational for me, which was great and fantastic. But that's, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much more information coming out. Definitely the crystals. The crystals are important.
Yeah.
Lemurian crystals are on my list. Have you ever held a Lemurian crystal?
I have not held a Lemurian crystal. I have a lot of crystals in my house, and I realized that I have too many in my bedroom. So I have to move a lot of stuff out. I like
it was at a time when I first started doing QHHT, and I had, it was a client who came, and she had this Lemurian crystal that was like this. It was big, and it looks like quartz. And I don't know, she brought it with her because she felt like it was important to have with her during a session, and I held it, and it was the first time, like I've kind of picked up on energies from crystals before, but it's been pretty faint, and you have to kind of be in that state of mind. And I held this, and it felt like it was floating in my hands. I can't explain it, and it was just incredible. She got kind of upset because she was like, "What? You feel something?" And I was like, "No, here." But there's something about the Lemurian crystals that's really important for, I think, if you have access, it's supposed to be something that's supposed to be important right now. Mount Shasta full of them. So I don't know why that came up.
Well, yeah. Well, sirens are going off now. You set the sirens off. So
yeah.
Linda's asking, well, thank you. Do you see me moving soon? And does 108 Mile Ranch sound good to move to? Been a year for 35, or been a goal for 35 years? Not sure, Linda. Linda, I see, well, number 108 is a sacred number. So 108 beads in a rosary, 108 beads in a Buddhist mala, or Buddhist rosary. And 108 is also very significant in Islam and Judaism. So that sounds lovely. I don't know where it is. I do see boxes they're showing me. And they're also saying that there's a man that's coming to you with this, helping you with it. And I think it's I don't know if you have a dad on the other side, or it feels like it could even be a brother, like if you had a relationship with your father that was kind of like brotherly, like you were really close friends, but somebody there that's going to be helping. And he's kind of like he looks like he's out of a Western or something. Really, really cool. Oh, your dad is on the other side, Linda? Yeah. Yeah, he's excited about it. He's excited about getting in there, and he's showing me a corral. So I don't know if you have horses, but he's showing me a corral.
I guess what I got was I'm getting is scales and balance. So I almost want to feel that where you are now, that it's in terms of your energy, that move is important. I'm not sure on timeline though, but definitely in terms of balance and finding equilibrium. I don't know if you live in a city or stressful area or anything else, but just energetically, that will be good for you. To recharge and reconnect.
Yeah, it's beautiful. This is personal, if it's appropriate. Cosmel Liz. Have strong interest in quantum. I think that's quantum. Physical medicine since young child. Was a doctor, scientist in previous life. Almost did in this one. So I'm seeing you, Cosmo Liz. They're showing me not only like in a previous lifetime that you've been interested in the quantum field, but also that that might go back to Lemuria or someplace, but also on another timeline in a galactic way. And they're showing me a couple of, I can't tell if they're spaceships or if they're nebula going around, like those little tiny planets that weigh as much as Mount Everest, right? So, but they're showing me two of those, and then those turn into glasses. So it's like you're a lookout or something, and you're out there in space working with that and watching.
That's so interesting. I was thinking, well, yeah. except I almost want to say that it's not necessarily like past, future, but simultaneous.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what, going back to what we were talking about earlier, it's in recognition of that we do have multiple hats, and a lot of us who have interests or are pulled to doing certain things here are actually kind of doing that type of work in some other form. So it wouldn't surprise me, like what Teri said, that it's a simultaneous lifetime. You do feel those effects. It's the question is I do know just from what the work that I've done is that it's complementary in a way in terms of what we do. So for example, I'm aware of the fact I work with energies in a different capacity, and I kind of do the same here. So I'd just be interested in what you do as for work, or what you do here. So so not previous life, I think it's simultaneous, but
Yeah. You're definitely doing something. Well, we're all doing something, aren't we? But it's always something that we love, isn't it?
yeah. And it's something that you hear it and it's not surprising. It's like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. But it's especially, I mean, getting back to dreams, it's important to pay attention to your dreams when it comes to the galactic stuff. Because that's kind of how I found out about mine, what I do in different forms. So taking the Star Wars type dreams seriously, if you have them and they feel real, then there's a really good chance that maybe you have another job on the side.
I love that. Do you have time for one more question?
Sure.
Okay. I want to say hi to everybody that's come in. Thank you for being here. I see Ron, Unconditional Love, and Kevin. How are you, Kevin? Teresa Ford. Okay. We're just going to get to this one. And anybody that we didn't get to, I'm sorry. And I hope that all these resonate for everybody. Teresa Ford asks, why did I come to Earth when I don't feel like I belong here? It's beautiful, but I don't really fit. I think that's everybody here.
I know. It's like, join the club.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say, just based on my experience and the knowledge that I've gotten, and even coming through, speaking directly with galactic communities and higher selves, there's a lot of us here that didn't necessarily want to have the human Earth experience again, but we came back for all this that's going on right now. And so it's really important to be paying attention to your talents, your gifts, your abilities, and really developing them and working with them, because they are going to come into play soon. We don't, the cloudiness and the murkiness that we, okay, so, I'm sensitive in this way, or, I have some abilities in this way. What am I going to do with that? Just trusting and going with it. Because part of the plan of why we're here right now, we've agreed to certain things in terms of what role we're going to play in the future. So just having faith and trust in that. There is this impatience, and there is a specific way things were supposed to, an agreement that was made, the galactic and then Earth, information will be released, and it was forecasted we would be in a different spot than we are now in terms of our knowledge and progression that hasn't been met. So if you feel impatient or agitated or whatever else about being here and you don't feel like you belong here, it's because there is an aspect of ourselves we are aware that we should be at a different point. Again, timelines, all that, but putting that aside, just knowing that you came back for a reason, it will become clear in the future, and just kind of doing the best you can. But I think a majority at least of us here. And yeah, if you don't feel like you don't belong, you're not alone, and that you don't belong. So you're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah, you fit in here, Teresa.
Yeah.
Completely. And Teresa always has the best one-liners and the best information to give, like t-shirt worthy, we always say. So, you can always make a t-shirt out of what you say, Teresa. But acknowledging that when we're born on this planet, because of the density, there is a forgetting. And we have to do that because as light beings, we shine so brightly that if we were to come into this density that bright, you just wouldn't be able, it would be hard to handle. You'd have to self-medicate or whatever. And this happens quite often with light beings when they come here. So, and there's no judgment about that on the other side. So just know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be always, they tell me. And also that you never had to worry about anything. I know this when we die. They've shown me this, that they say, see, it was great. You never had to worry about a thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We
you are
take
right.
life too seriously. That's a common thing that comes through. We take life too seriously. Have some fun.
Yeah. And that's easily done as empaths, isn't it? Because we feel things so strongly. We're so aware.
Yeah. Sometimes more than I want to, but
Right?
yeah. But I mean, with that said, I think just what kind of came through, like when I was talking about the fox earlier, there's this symbolism with the fox that's been kind of coming to the forefront in terms of fox medicine and just readings and things, that the fox energy is all about breaking through the illusion, but focusing on your talents and trusting your gifts, and as a way to kind of, that's where we're supposed to be focusing, not on the illusion that's all around us. So I kind of brought it full circle a little bit.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, Jason, thank you, sir, for being here. What a joy.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, for sure. Someday I'm going to go up there and get a reading. So I just, every time you're on, I'm like, oh, I've got to do this. I've got to do this, man. I got to get up there.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, all righty. All right. Well, everybody have a great weekend. If we don't see you then, or sometime this weekend, somehow, in some realm, dimension,
Yeah.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So thanks for being here, mods. Thank you, everybody on Kevin's channel. Well, Kevin's channel too, and Jason's channel, and my channel.
Yeah. So thank you, moderators, and the questions, and everybody. So
yeah. Okay. Thank you. We'll see ya.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, that's right.